Madeleine was nearly 4 years old when she vanished from the family's holiday apartment in Portugal. 2 Portuguese police investigations have found no proof of her fate, nor has Scotland Yard, which began its own investigation 6 years ago.
This heartbreaking story shocked the whole of Europe. In May 2007, the British McCann family went on vacation to the resort town of Praia da Luz in Portugal. That vacation was the last where the family stayed with the full complement of family members. Little Madeleine mysteriously disappeared, and despite modern forensic tools, her case is still unsolved.
She was a screamer right from the start.
Yeah, she was really late.
Right, home.
Cardiologist Jerry McCann and his GP wife Kate had turned to IVF after years of trying to conceive naturally. After Madeleine came twins Sean and Amelie.
Madeleine Beth McCann was born on the 12th of May, 2003. She lived with her parents, brother Sean and sister Emily in Rothley, Leicestershire, UK. She had straight blonde hair, a radiant smile, blue-green eyes, and a small mole on the ankle of her left foot. Kate and Jerry McCann were a happy family who never quarreled and lived very amicably. In 1993, during a local festival, Kate decided to try her hand at a contest for the best pie preparation. She noticed a young man in the crowd. It was Jerry. Jerry, who was passionate about cooking, also participated in the competition. They quickly struck up a conversation, discussing their favorite recipes. That evening, they not only competed for the prize, but also exchanged phone numbers, promising to meet again. A year later, Jerry proposed to Kate in the very place where they first met at the festival. They exchanged vows of love and fidelity surrounded by friends and family. After that, a new chapter of their lives began. After a while, Kate and Jerry had 3 children, a cheerful girl named Madeleine, an inquisitive boy Sean, and a little princess Emily. They went on picnics together, built sandcastles on the beach, and staged theatrical performances at home. Kate and Jerry tried to raise their children in an atmosphere of love and support. Several years have passed, but their love has only grown stronger. Kate and Jerry understood that they could overcome any difficulties together. Kate McCann was a doctor. She worked part-time at Melton Mowbray. Kate was educated at the University of Dundee, graduated in 1992, and became a gynecologist. From an early age, she asked questions about the world around her and was interested in medicine and health. Her grandmother, a former nurse, often told stories about her practice, and Kate listened with delight, dreaming of becoming a doctor one day. When Kate started high school, she started studying biology and chemistry. She was inspired by lessons about reproductive health. One day during her internship, Kate met a young mother who was having difficulties after giving birth. Kate, showing sensitivity and care, was able to calm her down and give her the necessary recommendations. This meeting left a deep mark on Kate's heart. She realized that her work could change people's lives. After many years of hard work, Kate became a qualified gynecologist. Gerald Patrick McCann was born in 1968 in Glasgow and was a cardiologist at Glenfield Hospital in Leicester. He attended Holyrood Catholic Secondary School in Glasgow and studied medicine at the University of Glasgow, graduating in 1992. Jerry grew up in a family where medicine was not just a profession, but a real tradition. His father was a surgeon, his mother was a pediatrician. However, unlike his parents, Jerry always dreamed of becoming a chemist. But every time he shared his dreams with his family, disappointment appeared on their faces. Despite his inner doubts, he applied to a medical university, hoping that eventually he would find his vocation. Despite the fact that studying was difficult for him, he realized that this was his vocation and his parents were right. Kate and Jerry have long dreamed of traveling to Portugal. They have long been interested in its history, culture, and of course, beautiful beaches. But they postponed their dream because of the children. When their little travelers grew up a little, and they were ready for a big adventure, their plans were full of ideas. They wanted to visit all the most beautiful places in Portugal: Lisbon, Porto, Sintra, Algarve. They spent several evenings planning their route, studying the map, choosing hotels, and booking tickets. Kate and Jerry looked at the happy face of their eldest daughter, Madeleine, and realized that they had made the right choice. They thought that a trip to Portugal would not only be a great vacation, but also an unforgettable family adventure that they would remember with warmth and a smile for many years. The apartment where the family stayed, 5 Rua Dr. Agostinho Dias Silva, was located on the ground floor of a multi-story building that was part of the Praia da Luz resort. The 3rd of May, 2007, was the 6th day of the family's week-long vacation. A carefree resort, nothing portends trouble. In the morning, Kate and Jerry McCann walked around the city. Sean and Emily, as well as Madeleine, were playing at a kids' club. Then they all had lunch together and went on an excursion. Then the family returned to the apartment and went swimming in the pool. Around noon, Kate took a photo. Madeleine was next to her father. The girl was supposed to turn 4 the other day, but this photo turned out to be the last in her life. In the evening, at 8:30, the parents left the children in the apartment on the ground floor to have dinner with friends at the restaurant. The restaurant was only 40 meters away. There is still a note in the accounting book, the table from which the apartment is visible, booked for the McCann and their friends every evening at 8:30. Madeleine, Sean, and Emily stayed in the rooms. Every evening at about 7 p.m., the McCann put their children to sleep in the apartment on the ground floor, after which at 8:30 they went out to dinner with friends at a restaurant. The bedroom had one waist-high window with curtains and a metal outer shutter, the latter controlled by a cord from inside the window. The window overlooked a narrow passage and a residential parking lot, separated from the street by a low wall. Every evening, Kate and Jerry closed the window and shutters in the nursery. Parents and friends checked on the children throughout the evening. Initially, their children were playing in the apartment. Then Kate came and put them to bed. Sean and Emily slept in playpen beds. Madeleine slept on a single bed with a pink stuffed cat toy. She was wearing pink and white pajamas with short sleeves. The father conducted the first check around 9 p.m. The children were sleeping, and everything was fine, except that he noted oddities. He remembered that when they went to the restaurant, he left the door of the children's bedroom slightly ajar, and now it was open. One of the McCann friends went to check on his children in the apartment next door at 9:30 p.m. He decided to look into the nursery and noticed that the door was wide open, but hearing no noise, calmly left the house. The man did not make sure if all the children were sleeping in their beds. At 10 p.m., Kate went to check on her children. She noticed that the children's bedroom door was wide open. When she tried to close the door, it slammed shut as if there was a draft, and then she saw that the bedroom window and shutters were open, and her daughter had disappeared. Madeleine's stuffed animal and blanket were still on the bed. Portuguese police arrived 10 minutes after the call. Later, criminologists and dog handlers joined. By the next morning, roads were cordoned off, and 400 volunteers were checking sewers, wells, and abandoned buildings. For many hours, Madeleine's signs were not passed on to either the border or the marine police. Officers did not interview all the McCann neighbors at the hotel, did not study photos of cars leaving Praia da Luz that evening. Friends of the McCann contacted the media in the UK, and they were reported on the morning news. Jerry's sister in Scotland notified the British consulates. The British media criticized the actions of the Portuguese police. The crime scene was not sealed, according to the chief inspector of the criminal police, Olegario de Sousa, who worked on the case. About 20 people entered the apartment before access to them was closed. Madeleine's toy was not initially tested for the presence of the girl's DNA. There had previously been a series of incidents at the resort that police believed were related to Madeleine's disappearance. In the previous months, the number of phone hacking cases increased. A year before Madeleine disappeared, the children saw a man who invaded the apartment on the ground floor and stared at the playpen. The men also posed as fundraisers and went door to door asking for money for orphans. On the day of the disappearance, between 3:30 and 5:30 p.m., 4 times 2 men visited the apartments next to the McCann, allegedly for the purpose of charity collections. In October 2013, Scotland Yard published images of a black-haired man who made those visits at 4 p.m., and a man who a week earlier had climbed the stairs to the apartment and was talking to someone on the balcony. In the days leading up to the disappearance, there were other reports of men behaving strangely near apartment 5A. On Monday, April 30th, one girl saw a man standing next to the apartment. She described him as a man about 35 years old, wearing a black leather jacket and sunglasses. On the same day or the next, a third witness saw a man standing at the parking lot. She said he was looking at the house where the McCann apartments were located while the white van was parked. On the 3rd of May, the fourth witness saw a man walking through the gate leading from the apartment. It seemed to her that he was trying to close them as quietly and carefully as possible and was looking around all the time. One of the witnesses, Jane Tanner, left the restaurant on the same day to check on her daughter, whom she also left in the apartment. She met Jerry on the way back when he was returning from a checkup at 9 p.m. He was chatting outside with a man he had met at the resort. At about 15 minutes past 9, Tanner noticed a man on the opposite side of the street, leaving the resort along the street where the McCann apartments were located. She said he was carrying a barefoot child dressed in light pink pajamas. Jane described him as a tall, dark-haired man wearing beige trousers and a dark jacket and identified him as a tourist. Tanner told Portuguese police this, but the description was not released to the media until May 25th. On October 2013, a British man vacationing there said that he could be the man Tanner saw he was returning to his apartment after picking up his daughter from evening kindergarten. The police took photos of him wearing the same clothes he was wearing that night and in the same position. Redwood stated that his officers were sure that Tanner saw him at the time. There were also those people who assured the police about a suspicious woman with a girl of this age. For several years, it was believed that Madeleine was abducted at about 15 minutes past 9 because of Tanner's testimony. Subsequently, the investigation became more interested in the testimony of the Smith family. Previously, their message was considered erroneous or unrelated to the kidnapping due to a time discrepancy with Tanner's statement. Then the police decided that the approximate time of the abduction was 10 p.m., the same time when they saw a man with a girl in his arms. The family saw a man carrying a girl in his arms. They later stated that the man could have been Jerry McCann, but this was rejected by the investigation, as several witnesses saw Jerry in the restaurant at that time. On the 14th of May, 2007, Portuguese police searched near a villa owned by the mother of Robert Murat, a British-Portuguese real estate consultant. Murat attracted the attention of Laurie Campbell, a Sunday Mirror journalist. She told the police that he was interested in the investigation. He explained this by saying that he wanted to help the family, since he was deprived of parental rights to his 3-year-old daughter. 3 people said they saw Murat at the resort on the evening Madeleine disappeared, although he and his mother claimed they were at home at the time. His car, computers, mobile phone, and video recordings were seized. It was proved that nothing connected him with the disappearance of the girl, and he was cleared of suspicion in July 2008. Portuguese police arrived at the villa rented by Kate and Jerry and took Madeleine's stuffed animal and some items of clothing, as well as Kate's diaries, which she began to keep after her disappearance in the Bible. On the 6th of August, police confiscated a Renault Scenic car, which the couple rented 24 days after the disappearance. The dog started barking near the car and at the contents of the trunk, and both dogs reacted to the toy, Kate's clothes, and the Bible. The analysis materials sent to the Forensic Examination Service were collected in the apartment and car. The results were ready on the 3rd of September, 2007. On the 7th of September, Portuguese police declared Jerry and Kate suspects. On the 5th of September, the police assumed that Madeleine died in an accident in the apartment, and Kate hid her body. Despite their status as suspects, the McCann were allowed to leave Portugal. They returned to England on the 9th of September, 2007. The family did everything so that Madeleine would not be forgotten. Posters with their daughter's face hung all over the world. The McCann were even received by the Pope. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on private detectives, but they only gave them empty hopes, squandered advances, and did nothing. The McCann campaign to find Madeleine has attracted a lot of attention to their personal lives.
The focus is now firmly on the parents.
They're lying and they're concealing guilt.
An estimated $20 million has been spent trying to find the world's most famous missing person.
This is the most baffling case I've ever looked.
They were severely criticized for leaving the children alone in the apartment, although babysitting and evening kindergarten services were available at the resort. Kate McCann was accused of being too calm for a mother who had recently lost a child. Kate also said that photographers hid near her house and beat their hands on her car to make her look scared in the photo. The parents were acquitted, and the search for their child did not continue in any way. It was only in June 2020 that it became known that the British police suspected 43-year-old German Christian Brueckner of kidnapping the girl. As the investigation established, in 2007, the man traveled to Portugal in a trailer and made a stop at the resort of Praia da Luz, where the McCann family was then located. The German's van was spotted by witnesses in the area of the resort from where the girl disappeared. One British woman, who was Brueckner's girlfriend at the time, said that on the eve of the abduction he told her, "I have a case in Praia da Luz tomorrow. It's a terrible thing, but I have to do it, and it's going to change my life. You won't see me for a while." The police were interested in the fact that the day after the disappearance of the child, Christian Brueckner hastily re-registered his trailer in someone else's name for no apparent reason. Another friend of his considered Brueckner her friend, until one day in his apartment, she discovered a video recording of Christian's violence against people unknown to her. After this incident, they stopped communicating, but they met by chance in Spain at a music festival, a year after Madeleine McCann disappeared. On this trip, the girl asked Brueckner if he was visiting Portugal on business, to which Christian replied after the disappearance of the girl, "Travelers were often checked by the police. I don't understand at all how a little girl could disappear without a trace. The girl recalled her words. Brueckner then startled her with a very strange response. He said that McCann did not call for help when she was captured. After that, the man realized that he could arouse suspicion and disappeared the next day without saying a word. After this incident, the girl reported it several times to the authorities in London, but did not receive a response. In April 2022, the Portuguese prosecutor's office announced that Brueckner was officially recognized as a suspect. Since May 23, 2023, Portuguese, German, and British police have searched the area where the dam was located just 50 kilometers from the place where the child disappeared, where Brueckner was also the day after McCann disappeared. Earlier in 2008, a child's sock was found at the search site. He completely denied any involvement in the crime. Christian Brueckner has appeared in court in Germany on charges of violence in separate cases. Then the court session was postponed after only 9 minutes due to objections to one of the people's assessors made by Brueckner's lawyer Friedrich Fulcher, who accused her of bias and unfitness to participate as a judge in cases. The accusation was based on reports that the judge had posted several angry tweets about the former Brazilian president in 2019, which Fulcher said were proof of her unfitness. The charges against Christian were not related to Madeleine's case, and he was not charged. Before the trial, Brueckner dismissed the charges against him as absurd. I hope they will find answers to their questions soon. Brueckner was serving a 7-year prison sentence in Germany for a crime committed in Portugal in 2008. He did not admit his guilt in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, and he was not formally charged with this crime. According to investigators, the girl has been dead for a long time. But there is another part of the story that they don't like to talk about. There are versions of Christian B. He was not some kind of half-witted lone maniac. He could be a member of an international gang that kidnapped children, and this gang could be very influential. This explains why the police sabotaged the investigation by putting forward hypotheses as far from the truth as possible. Christian Brueckner denied his involvement in the kidnapping and murder of Madeleine, so the girl's parents had hoped that their daughter might be alive. What was their joy when, in 2023, Julia Faustina announced that she was the missing Madeleine? Allegedly, after accidentally seeing a photo of Brueckner, a girl from Poland remembered that she had been kidnapped by this man as a child. Julia's statement caused a bombshell effect on social media. I have a similar face shape, ears, lips, and a gap between my teeth. Another proof is the mole under my left eye. Julia Faustina wrote on her social network page, arguing that she is the disappeared Madeleine McCann. Judging by the photos, they really look alike. But there are people in the world who are very similar and at the same time, not even relatives. To prove her point, Julia took a DNA test on February 2023. While Julia was waiting for the results of the genetic study, her statements caused heated discussions on social networks. Someone believed in this story and supported it in every possible way, while others considered the girl a liar who wanted to become famous on someone else's mountain. A private detective, Dr. Via Johansson, was also interested in the story of Julia Faustina. She helped to give the girl a genetic test. He put an end to all these disputes. DNA tests have shown that Faustina is almost 100% Polish. She has no British roots at all. This means that the girl cannot possibly be Madeleine McCann, who disappeared many years ago. Someone thinks that she really believed what she was saying. But most still tend to the version of the girl's parents, who eventually made statements to the press. They believe that the daughter just wanted to attract attention to herself. She dreamed of being popular since childhood. She even recorded several songs, tried to become a model, and in principle, Julia achieved some fame. Now she has more than 1 million subscribers on various social networks. "We are never going to give up." These were the words spoken a year ago by Madeleine McCann's parents. They posted a touching greeting on the occasion of their daughter's 20th birthday. They said, "We love you and are waiting for you." The family remembered their daughter with their 18-year-old children Sean and Emily. They hold a glimmer of hope that she may still be alive. Madeleine's great-uncle Brian Kennedy said 17 years without anyone and still not knowing where he is a very long time. Even if it was bad news, in a way it would give us some closure. But until the case is closed, there is still hope. Symbolic gifts and postcards from family members and others were collected and stored in a keepsake box. At one time, Madeleine's beautiful pink bedroom became a shrine to her parents, and for many years it was decorated with memorabilia. Every year they celebrate her birthday, and Kate and Jerry still have no idea what happened to their daughter. Kate, dressed in black jeans and a blue jacket, joined in the prayers, but neither she nor Jerry addressed the crowd. The Reverend Rob Gladstone, vicar of the local parish church, led the prayer at an informal outdoor event. He told the audience, We are gathered here this evening to express our tender concern for Madeleine and for all the young children who were taken from their families against their will. We are also here to encourage each other to remain hopeful and pray for recuperation even after so long. Kate's best friend, Fiona Payne, was by her side throughout the whole time. Kate said we talked, cried, and held on to each other. It was like a horror movie that never ended.